think going in, what I would say to others is take your time, pay attention to everyone's health level, make sure
Right.
everybody's healthy, emotionally, spiritually, all those things, and that everybody goes in feeling heard, being seen, feeling
Right.
heard, like I don't have to hold anything in, have fears that nobody knows about or that I can't express. Make sure that expression is free. Take your time. If you're single, take your time. Because if you rush into something, it can create problems.
Right. Right.
Welcome to In Conversation with Joel Brooks. We were on last week talking about blended families, so that's our subject, and that blended family thing is really interesting. And we have a blended family.
Right.
Yvonne and I have both experienced divorces, and we had kids. We were both single parents when we met, and so there were 6 kids involved in our wedding. They were the ones that stood with us,
Right.
and so and then it started. We dove in.
We had
And
2
it's been an
children from
adventure
adoption
ever
after
since.
that.
Yeah, we have
actually-
2 additional children through
We
adoption.
started 3 months into our marriage.
3 months into our
One.
marriage,
Right.
yeah.
We had
Yeah.
7, and then a few years later we had number 8.
Right. And so we want to talk about some of the things we did right, some of the things we did wrong, to help you maybe avoid some of these problems. And some of the things, I think some of the things I did, I think I did the right thing. I did, and I can give you the reason why I did it. Some people might disagree with it,
Right.
but coming into it, we believe in spanking, okay? But I didn't want to spank your girls
Right.
because to me, to have this big burly man hitting me, would feel really weird,
Right.
really terrifying to me. You know what I'm saying? And so I purposely never spanked him. Now, our pastor, Bishop Garlington, when he married Barbara, she had 3 boys.
Right.
They had similar mix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so and he wouldn't spank them, and it resulted in some discipline issues. Barbara felt like maybe the kids were a little wild because he wouldn't spank them, and she was kind of parenting alone.
Right.
So he started spanking the boys at one point. Okay, but I never did get around to spanking them. I just didn't want to be. I tried to imagine being a kid, especially a little girl, with this guy spanking me,
Right.
and I just didn't want that. And I don't know if I was still strict. I still set boundaries, especially when it came to guys and dating and
you
stuff
did.
like that.
Yep.
So I didn't mind being the bad guy when I needed to be. I just didn't want to be that guy that hit him.
Yeah. Now, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for spankings, that's one of the issues, the hot topics that come up sometimes with blended families,
right.
because you're blending not only families through marriage and the wedding and all that kind of stuff, even the children, but you're also blending cultures.
Right.
Your culture, how you do things.
Right.
I did spank my children, but normally they would have to have 3 offenses in the same area 3 times.
Yeah.
And I would say, hey,
Statute of
right,
limitations.
the
was
third
up, right?
time, okay, you're gonna get a spanking. And as they get older, you're talking.
Right,
you may have
right.
you may have different discipline methods. Maybe you're gonna get grounded or something like that.
Right.
But with my younger 2, my oldest one, she lived through the older stages of that, and then my younger 2, we worked through that together. And so I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing that you didn't spank them. I think that was pretty good. And I think the difference with the Garlingtons is also you had 3 girls, they had 3 boys,
Right.
and so they, I thought it worked well. I mean, I loved when you disciplined, them when you sat down and talked. I thought that the wisdom that you gave them was great. So I didn't mind that at all.
Okay, good. Yeah, that was. I tried to think that through before we went in. If I had it to do over again,
Okay, what would you do?
I would have gotten me and my kids some therapy
Okay.
and tried to get us really good and healthy before going into another family, the challenge of blending a family.
Right.
I think you've mentioned at one place where you have to have come out of a painful episode, a painful
Right.
season,
Right.
in order to be in position for a blended family.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, and so there's scars, there's hurts. I know I fell a couple of years ago and hurt my shoulder, and put my shoulder in a sling, and the sling was to hold it in place because it was broken. Right.
Right.
Well, in the healing process, I reached a point where I didn't need the sling, but I still wore it.
Right. When you were out.
Yeah, because I wasn't healed yet,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want anybody to grab my arm or grab my hand, because the rule is that when you're wounded, when you're still hurting, common contact produces uncommon pain.
That's good.
Okay, so you got this house full of wounded people, and you think you're just being normal.
Right.
When to them, man, you're stepping all on me.
You're all on me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you know, why are you in my face?
Right,
You know,
right.
I'm not in your face. I'm just talking
Right.
to you. You know, and so
Right.
I think I would have put more time into getting them healed. I remember when I was first found myself single. Okay, I should have really taken the time then to focus on my kids, and really focus on us all getting in a healthy place,
Right.
so that we could move forward in a healthy way. And I totally underestimated where we were and what the journey had done to us
Right.
as a result. You know,
Right. The journey of divorce.
right,
Of,
and
of
so-
family and the divorce.
and so I made sure that I didn't date while I was going through the divorce process. That before I dated, I was totally free and clean. Okay. But I do feel like I started too early. Okay, I felt like my kids should have been the priority. I think you come out of that thing, you're wounded and hurting.
Right. Needy.
Yeah, you're needy. I was really needy. And you come out of that and you're looking for the comfort of a relationship and the approval of the opposite sex. you know?
Right.
And so I think I started dating too early. I should have stopped and really focused on my kids, because I think in a way they kind of felt like they lost me even during that period. Like, okay, Dad's seeing other people, and and so he's distracted.
Right.
And relationships take a lot of your
Yes,
emotional energy.
They do.
And so I think there might have been times when the kids didn't feel I was available for them, when they maybe were not a priority, but they always were.
Right.
Because I was a single dad and I was taking care of them, But I feel as if I had waited and really concentrated on everybody being healthy before we moved out into something else, that it would have solved me a lot of problems.
Right.
So what I would say to people who maybe are newly single is, I know you want to get back out there, and what can I say? New relationship feels like healing.
Right.
Sometimes I call it Advil. I was talking to somebody the other day, and she said, well, the guy, he's going through a divorce. He just got divorced and we're dating. I said, well, you're not a mate. You're Tylenol.
That's right.
Your name is Advil. You're there because of the pain he's going through.
Right.
And you don't really make good decisions in pain.
Right.
You don't really know what you need until you're healthy.
Right. Absolutely.
Or even what you want.
Right.
Sometimes you want things because of the wounding that you're in, And so that's one thing I would do differently. I
Yeah.
don't know. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that when you don't realize that you're in pain, or that your children still need healing. I think with my children, we were in my first marriage, we were separated so early. Joy was 3 months, and then I had a 2-year-old, and then I had a 9-year-old. So we had, by the time they came to you, we got married. They were 10 and 12.
Right.
And so we had some time, for healing. But I think although there was still issues there,
Right.
even with all those years, there were still issues there. But I think for me, growing up, I did have a loving family. I was very much in love with my children, and we had a great time together. I think I prayed, for a church at that time, and found a really great church. And I feel like a lot of my healing came from Christ Church,
Right.
where
Okay,
I
great.
was.
It's a great church. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the healing from the children, so we kind of dove in. But the message, I know that's where God had me at that point.
Right.
But there were still some things. I think my biggest thing was I was always this good parent, a great parent. We had a lot of fun together. We worshiped together. We did everything together. Was not a perfect parent, but I was really a good, great parent. And I've had not just my children all the time. I had children from my classroom as a teacher at my house. I had children from the church at my house all the time. So I was around children all the time, you know, and I would always get these compliments about how great of a parent I was, you know, to people. How do you do that? You know, how do you become this great single parent? I know it was just God, the grace of God. It was just God.
Right.
You know, so I think, you know, when we married, you know, before we got married, I saw some of the things that you were challenged with, and some of the issues that you were challenged with. And I think my big mistake is going in thinking that I had enough to fix everything.
Right.
You know, I know how to do that. Oh,
Right.
parenting, I know how to do that. Oh, this, I know how to do that. Love a kid, I know how to do that. I would have kids at my house who didn't come from me and would be in my house for weeks sometimes because I would always loved children. And so getting married, you know, I loved your children, already fell in love with them first. I think one of the reasons why I fell in love with you, because I loved how you would speak to them and how you address them and how, you know, things that I saw you do as a parent I felt was great. But I think my big mistake was coming and feeling like I was the cavalry. You know, I was the person riding in on the horse.
Here I come
to save the day.
Right.
And I needed to just sit in the corner somewhere or
chill,
just pray and say, okay, God, give me some more wisdom for this.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're equipped for it because you are a person who loves. Generally, you feel like you're equipped. And the thing is, you know, that might not be, you know, what they need, you know, at the time. And so, although it's my heart to come in to be the parent, to be the one that loves you, yes, I could do this for you. I love you. I love you. Sometimes that's why the counseling is so important.
Right.
I think even counseling between the children and the new parent is important.
Yeah, that would probably be good.
Yeah, that would have been great because then you can get to find a safe space so you can actually know what their needs are.
Right. And air out their fears.
Air out their fears because
like that, yeah.
their fears may not be valid, but to them it's very much so valid. This is their fears and they feel that. And you can't put a cat in a corner and expect that he's not going to come out and jump at you.
Right.
You know, and so it's like you have to, I think, wisdom to know to say, hey, you know, because again, as I think we said on the previous podcast, it's the parents that set the pace. And so it's like parents need to get counseling together. They need to talk about how they're going to do issues. And then the children need counseling. And then they need counseling between the children and the parents because
Right.
And then if you have to, even make up contracts and agreements between each other.
Right.
So that everybody feels understood.
Everybody feels safe. Yeah.
Everybody feels safe. And so that's really important, you know, to the fact that for me, maybe taking their father away, you know, daddy loves somebody else other than me. Maybe for my kids, having to come all the way out here to Kalamazoo
Right.
was a big deal, you know, for them.
Leave their friends.
Right,
their
to
family.
leave their friends. And their thing was like, we want you guys to get married, but can he move to New Jersey?
Right.
And he was like, no, he has a world out there. We have a world here too, but our world is easier to move. You know?
Right.
And so all of those things, just kind of walking them through a little bit better. It's love. You know, love and kindness have I drawn thee, but it's also understanding, you know, to be among somebody, to understand what they're feeling
Right.
and to be able to walk them through to a better place
Yep.
is really, really important. So I can't say enough, you know, how much that counseling, premarital counseling, I think could make a difference if you get the right counselor to say, let's walk through, even if you had an open dialogue, let's talk about what are you afraid of?
Yeah. Right. I think going in, what I would say to others is take your time, pay attention to everyone's health level, make sure
Right.
everybody's healthy, emotionally, spiritually, all those things, and that you know, everybody goes in feeling heard, you know, being seen, feeling heard, like, you know, I don't have to hold anything in, have fears that nobody knows about or that I can't express. Make sure that expression is free. Take your time. If you're single, take your time. Because if you rush into something, it can create problems. for you,
Right,
you know?
right.
And so I feel I would encourage people that second marriages can be great because hopefully you're smarter, and you're
Right.
more mature, and you learn some things. But they tend to not work as
Right.
well as first marriages,
Right.
and blended families tend to not work because of children issues. And so next time we'll get back into some of those, and we'll see you guys the next time around. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Good.